socialism for the rich. Majority Leader is right. But let's talk about, in fact, what is in this bill. According to the Tax Policy Center, less than 1% of the benefits of the direct payments, that's the $2,000 per working class adult that Senator Schumer and I are talking about, less than 1% would go to the top 5% of Americans. Virtually nothing goes to the very, very rich. Overwhelming majority of those funds go to the middle class, the working class, low-income people who, in the midst of this pandemic, are in desperate economic condition. Now, again, I am delighted to hear the Majority Leader talking about socialism for the rich, and I hope we will continue that discussion in the next session. So let me talk about the socialism for the rich that the Majority Leader is enthusiastically supportive of. Majority Leader helped lead this body to pass Trump's tax bill. Now, you want to talk about socialism for the rich, Mr. Majority Leader? Under that bill, Charles Koch, one of the very richest people in America, he has a net worth of $113 billion. That bill gave Mr. Koch a $1.4 billion tax break. Majority Leader, that sounds to me like socialism for the rich. That's not all. Way in Nevada, we have a gentleman named Sheldon Adelson, a major contributor to the Republican Party. Big funder for Donald Trump. Under that same tax bill, led by the Majority Leader, Sheldon Adelson received a $560 million tax break. Guy is worth $34 billion, desperately needed that tax break. $560
got the money
million.
already, guys.
One more tax breaks for the rich. Want to talk about socialism for the rich?
And they tax the hell out of us.
Senator McConnell had no problem giving a $104 million tax refund to Amazon over the past 3 years, despite the fact that that company made $30 billion in profit. So the argument that this bill in any significant way benefits the rich is just not accurate. Well, let us talk about who this bill does benefit. This bill benefits tens of millions of Americans who, as a result of this pandemic, have lost their lives, lost their jobs. They have lost their jobs. They have lost their income.
He meant livelihood.
Some, in fact,
that's what he meant.
Have lost their lives. These are people who are going hungry today. We are seeing, Madam President, a record-breaking level of hunger in America today, in the richest country in the history of the world. All over this country, and I receive emails from people all over this country, people are frightened to death that they are going to be evicted from their homes. And think about what a $4,000 check or a $5,000 check would mean to those struggling families, husband, wife, kids. And in fact, let me give you an example. This is a problem taking place all over this country, taking place in Vermont, taking place in Senator Schumer's state. It is taking place in Kentucky. In fact, in the state of Kentucky, a very beautiful state. I've had the pleasure of being there a number of times. Beautiful state. But Kentucky is the state where 10 out of the 25 poorest counties in America exist. And I'm sure Senator McConnell is aware that throughout his state, you got thousands and tens of thousands of people living in economic desperation. And I'm talking about counties where 30 to 40% of people are living in poverty, and where many thousands of residents are trying to survive on less than $20,000 a year. I'm talking about a state, the state of Kentucky, and I'm just using Kentucky as an example because that's the state Senator McConnell represents, true all over this country. But in Kentucky, over 22% of the children are living in poverty. You think they might need a little bit of help. In the state of Kentucky, more than 190,000 workers are making extremely low wages. And where over 500,000 people earn less than $15 an hour. Somebody might want to ask those people what a $2,000 a check per adult would mean. And I'm talking in Kentucky, and I'll never forget this because I visited Kentucky and talked to some of the people there. Kentucky has suffered a particular opioid crisis. And I'll never forget talking to a football coach who told me that a bunch of the kids on his football team were living with their grandparents or on couches because of the opioid epidemic. In other words, the people in Kentucky, the people in New York, the people in Vermont are hurting. They need help. So I say today to Senator McConnell, the leader here, let us address the horrendous economic crisis facing tens of millions of Americans. The pandemic today is worse than it has ever been. Hopefully the vaccine will make a profound difference, but right now,